Hey there, welcome to the latest live edition of the Winner Circle presented by America's Best Racing and Naira Bets, the official online betting partner of the Belmont Stakes and Saratoga Racecourse. I'm Bram Weinstein. I snowflake COVID out on Breeders' Cup this year. Dan Torgman, Trooper, is at Del Mar in, I don't know, is that your camera or is it actually like overcast in San Diego? What's up with that?
Yeah, your eyes aren't lying to you. It's a bit hazy out here. It's a bit foggy. It's a little chilly. There's a bit of a cool breeze. Not what I was expecting. Look, I'm not going to complain coming in from the East Coast. Obviously, it's a lot nicer and calmer and warmer, but it's a bit chilly here, and I wasn't expecting that. But the forecast the rest of the week is beautiful. Friday, Saturday, most importantly, beautiful weather, sunny, warm. So, look, I'm not really going to complain.
I mean, listen, it's Monday, but I mean, Tuesday. I forgot what day we are. We'll do some. We'll go through a number of the races Friday, Saturday. Obviously, like we get to change our minds, by the time Friday and Saturday roll around. But just quickly, what are you looking for? Since you're going to be out there all week, what are you looking for as you kind of get set for the Breeders' Cup this weekend?
It's such a good question. We're at that stage of the week where everyone wants to give you a hot take. Here's the horse who's going to beat Latruska. Here's the horse who's going to beat Knicks Go. Everyone's giving you a hot take. The reality is you can't give hot takes and talk about how these races are going to play out until you see how the track is actually playing. And specifically for the dirt races, you need to know whether the horses that are going to the front are staying there, or even if they're taking a lot of pressure and going super fast, or is the track playing evenly and fair, or even potentially playing to the strengths of mid-pack runners and closers. Because then I think you can start building some cases, especially in the sprint and in the dirt mile, where there's a ton of pace in both of those races. But then the question is, does that even matter when you have, like we've seen so many times, especially on big weekends like Breeders' Cup and Kentucky Derby, the horses that get to the front, no matter how much pressure they take, they still essentially stay there. And if you want a horse that's going to close from the clouds, it's just not going to happen. So I think my biggest bit of advice at this particular moment is come up with a plan. Say, look, if the track is playing evenly, meaning horses, who are going to the front are winning, people who are running mid-pack are winning, horses that are coming from off the pace are winning, then you say, this is my plan, and these are the horses who I think who could pull off upsets. If the track is playing to speed, though, which we see a lot, be prepared to adjust and make sure that you have a list of horses who are all speed, all the time, even at big prices, who you think, well, that horse is going to fade. Maybe they won't fade. And so keep a little X mark by that horse so that you can come back and utilize that horse in your tickets if you see the tracks playing to speed.
All right, I'm gonna jump around a little bit with some of the races. We'll get to the Classic and the Distaff later, which both are going to be fantastic races with the fields that they have. But you mentioned the sprint, which is Jackie's Warrior, and I don't know why you mentioned that, because that feels as chalk as anything is going to be. So are you trying to build a case on Tuesday that someone's beating Jackie's Warrior? Because I think you're wrong. But that's like the one sure thing to me of the weekend is Jackie's Warrior.
That's probably the toughest case to build, because the only race Jackie's Warrior has lost was when he broke poorly from the gate. So if you want to make a case that Jackie's Warrior is going to lose on Saturday, you're banking on him, potentially just breaking late or stumbling or something happening at the start that compromises him. Now, working against him to a certain extent, the other logical speed in the race, Following C, drew the rail yesterday when they drew post position. So Following C, it breaks from the rail, is super fast, is going to get out front. So now Jackie's Warrior has a horse to his inside with speed, and also to his outside, there's a horse from Japan named Matera Sky, who, when he was here a couple of years back, went straight to the lead, tired late, but he goes to the lead every single time. So he's going to have company. I think if you're building a case for any horse who could potentially swoop by at the last possible moment, Aloha West, I think, is the horse who makes sense. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead, because I haven't heard anyone make a case against Jackie's Warrior yet. So go ahead, because that's the chalk of that's the single of my ticket, Dan. Jackie's Warrior.
At this moment, I would say you're on the right track. But Aloha West is a horse who's kind of late arriving on the scene. He's run a number of really big races. He just missed in the Phoenix at Keeneland, made a big late move from off the pace, and he was the only horse to do that, really, the only horse to close from way off the pace, nearly got up there. I think that he's the horse who's kind of moving in the right direction at the right time, and if there's a pace set up, could ultimately pull a little bit of an upset. If you want a huge bomb to throw in your trifectas in that race, Lexitonian for me is a fun horse.
Yeah.
Race over this track. We saw him over the summer win at a big price at Saratoga. Never count out Lexitonian.
Yeah. On the exotic tickets, I agree with you there that there's a possibility to make some money there. All right. You mentioned the Dirt Mile. Life is Good's gonna be a heavy favorite there. This horse Ginobili's been kind of lying in the weeds for a long time here. Has for months been racing in lower tier races, and then was just put in a couple of graded stakes races, and it was like, bam! Like it was like they were hiding this horse for months, and then all of a sudden he's there and he's ready to go. So I'm going to go with the connections knew exactly what they were doing, and if he's peaking, then I'm giving him half a shot here to knock off Life is Good. So that's the one that I'm kind of looking a little bit on the outside to try to take a shot here this weekend.
Yeah, I think your head's in the right place there. If the track is playing fair, I think Ginobili is a horse who might not be on the pace exactly with Life is Good, but he's going to be right there with him. And it could be the sort of situation where they run 1-2 all the way around the track. I think Ginobili is also coming into his own at the right moment. As you mentioned, last seen winning the Pat O'Brien in August. He's a horse who, he posted 104 buyer speed figure in an allowance here at Del Mar. So he runs well over the course, is in good form, and logically should be close enough to the pace where, even if Life is Good kicks away, Ginobili seems like he's good enough to hang on for second. The only other horse I would look at even in this race in some of your combinations would be Silver State. Missed by head last out at Parks, but that was his fourth straight race with 100+ buyer speed figure.
Yeah.
Horse every single time. I think Silver State is an honest horse and figures to hit the board. I don't think anyone's getting by Life is Good, though.
Silver State was one of those that was going like this, like rocket ship up and then kind of plateaued. And so that's the one where I don't, you'll look at those numbers and you'll think, oh, he's right there. And if you've paid attention and watched, I think you'll see that it's likely to start going back down this way, and which is just not going to be enough. So I'm with you. Did he hit the board? Sure. Does he win here? I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. If you do want a long shot, a fun horse here is Snapper Sinclair. The horse is 6 years old, has run on the turf, has run on the dirt, has done a little bit of everything. And just when you're ready to say that horse has kind of, done his best running and his best days are behind him, he pops up with a big effort. So Snapper Sinclair is the kind of horse, again, who's going to hang close enough, I think 3 to 4 lengths off the pace. If you do see a situation where Silver State is chasing, maybe 8 Rings is chasing, and then maybe, Ginobili is going hard early, they start to tire late and back up a little bit. I think Snapper Sinclair is a horse that could catch a little piece of the action with a late run.
I don't know if you have any much on the turf sprint, but it's a jumbled mess with the field that's there. And I'll just put this one out there because there is one that I'm kind of look at that I want to see what the price is, and that's Caravelle.
Oh my God.
Third race under Graham Motion and not showing much, the first couple of goes, and there's no monster in this field. And I got one of those funny feelings that you're going to see best efforts going to pop up here. And I know and it sounds like you agree with me, but I know I'm going on the come on something like that, but I got a feeling that you're going on the right side of the come on something like that. It feels like it is totally set up where you're going to get a really good price. It's got a real shot.
Let me tell you something, brother. I have been on Caravelle for months, and actually even going back to last year, I fell in love with her last year before anyone even was talking about Caravelle, because she wasn't running in these kinds of races. And then she was bought privately a few starts back. They started to move her up into graded stakes company, and she hasn't gotten it done. But there are excuses. Most recently, she flopped entirely at Parks on the turf there. That was over soft ground. And if you look at her career, she just hasn't run well over soft ground. The ground here is not going to be soft, right? She's going to get a rock hard turf course. And I think that plays to her strengths. Earlier in the year, she was spectacular. I mean, she won the Grade 3 Caress, posted a 98 buyer speed figure there. She had another big race at Monmouth. She's 5 for 6 at the distance. Graham Motion is not gonna put her into a spot to embarrass herself here at the Breeders' Cup, coming off of 2 poor races. And really, the Highlander 2-back wasn't terrible. I just thought she'd run better. It was a Grade 1. That was the race that JD was, if you remember, making fun of me for, because I said you single Caravelle and move on to the next race. She is going to run a huge race on Saturday. She's
That's what I think.
line.
I think it's totally set up for it. And I think, what do you think we're going to get on that? 7-1, 8-1, something like that? I think you're going to get a number. Yeah.
Oh, Caravelle, I think we're getting at least 25 to 1 on.
25? Oh, I didn't think it. Oh, now that's a no-brainer. I mean, now it's a no-brainer. But like, I thought we'd get, if we get 10 to 1, I'd be happy with that with Caravelle.
Yeah, no, we're getting 25 to 1. You got a lot of horses here that come with a lot of, have a lot of juice, right? I mean, Kamari is a horse for Wesley Ward that everyone's going to bet on. Gear Jockey is a horse who's finally coming into his own. He was in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf a couple of years ago. Ran a decent race, finished third there, but really is now getting to the point where race to race he's improving. I like Gear Jockey a whole lot in the race as well. You got Fast Boat for Joe Sharp, has been super solid all year. Those are horses that are going to take a bunch of action. I think Caravelle gets overlooked and is a big price. By the way, all those horses that I mentioned, I do like a lot, including Golden Powell. Golden Powell is tough to leave out. This is a horse who has won 4 out of his last 5 races. The only race he lost was overseas in a Group 1 race out there. But over here, stateside, he's been nothing but dominant. So Golden Powell, the 3 horse in the race, is I think, a logical play. And I'm going to be playing combinations with Caravelle.
Cool. Is Isabella around? Because I want to take a break. I want to bring her in. Is she here?
Yeah, let's take. I'll wave her over while you do the read.
I bet your favorite tracks online with Naira Bets, available nationwide in 30 states. Naira Bets offers best-in-class HD live video and replays, online contests to compete with other Naira Bets players, exclusive promotions that give back more, and expert picks and analysis. With an easy-to-use, free-to-download app, betting horse racing online has never been easier and safer. Sign up for Naira Bets now to earn a $200 sign-up bonus with promo code ABR200. And welcome back to the Winner's Circle. I'm Bram Weinstein in my basement, and that is Dan Torgman out in what's usually beautiful Del Mar, California, but we're getting the odd California weather as we get set for the Breeders' Cup. What's up, Isabella? How are you? Nice. Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. How are you?
And she's freezing. Don't let her lie to you. She's absolutely freezing. She's been complaining about the cold the whole time.
Well, like, what's the temperature there? It's Southern California. What's the temperature there?
Like 60, I think.
Oh my God. Get out of here with that. Okay. The rest of the country is giving you one of these right now.
I know, it's where I grew up, so I'm just bred to be warm all the time.
You've been walking around. What are you seeing out there so far this week as we get set for Breeders' Cup?
Lots of action this morning. 2 of the standouts definitely were Nick's Go. He was out there galloping very strongly as normal. Normally I'm based at Churchill Downs, so I get to see him a lot. So it's very typical of his style out galloping. And then also Channel Maker, who I don't see normally at Churchill, but he stood out. His ears were up the whole entire time. Walking onto the track, they have everyone stop and jog for the vets as part of their new veterinary protocol that they've put in place over the past few years. So even that whole time, he'd just stand there. His ears were always forward, never backed in ear, and was looking all around. So very attentive to everything that was going on. And then also saw California Angel. So she's kind of a local to me from being from Indiana, where she is, and me being in Kentucky. So I saw her gallop, and then she was back at the barn. She took a bath, and she's kind of like a dog, just a pet. She stood there perfectly still. All the connections were around her, and she just stood there and didn't really seem to care, be fazed by anything. And then they walked her around, and she was just a little angel, just like she's named. So those were some of the things I saw this morning, along with, of course, you have all the Europeans out here, which are really cool to see, contenders. A lot of them use the turf course to gallop. That's something Del Mar's allowing, so that's a cool feature for them. And yeah, it's pretty much just organized chaos.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. Dan and I will talk a little bit more about the Classic in a bit, but I want to go back to Nick's Go for a minute, because I feel like there's the horse that of all of them could go wire to wire in a really, really, really strong field. What's your sense here early in the week of Nick's Go as we get set for the Classic?
I definitely think he's going to be tough to beat. He's a speed horse, and he gallops so strongly in the morning. It's hard to have anything to say against him, to be honest. But like I said, I see him all the time at Churchill, and he always is a strong galloper and just a really good horse to watch on the track. He always is impressive. So see the same things out here for sure with him.
Dan gave a couple of picks in their first segment that were like 25 to 1 shots. If you're going to be a guest here on Breeders' Cup week, give it to us. Let's go. What do you got? What are you watching that's under the radar this week?
I don't have anything under the radar yet. I've been, still doing that. I overheard your conversation about Jackie's Warrior and trying to make a case against him, which I don't really think you can do, but anything's possible, I think. So I'll have to get back to you on the ones coming up from.
How about me and Dan are going to go in on a massive bet on Caravelle. You in on that one, Isabella? You want in on that? 25-1. He's telling me we're going to get.
Right? I mean, I don't know. I love Caravelle. Have you followed Caravelle much?
Not much.
No. Yes. I mean, they put her in, an open company against the boys, and she didn't run as well, but there were excuses. Like, I mean, the one race with that Woodbine, it is, with the stretch out there. I mean, not every horse takes to that. And she's just, I don't know. She's had excuses when she's run poorly. And like I said, her race last out was over wet ground. And here it's a completely different turf course. I think she's going to run back. And I just don't think that Graham Motion would put her in a position where she would embarrass herself coming off of what was a pretty bad effort last out. He's not going to take her out of a bad effort and be like, you know what, let's do it again. He knows that she's capable. And I'm not saying she's going to win because, there are, I mentioned, Kamari's in the race. You got a couple of really nice horses in the race, but Golden Powell. But Isabella, you also, just being on the backstretch, you're capturing like social media and stuff like that. What else do you have planned for the rest of the week? And where can people find it?
Yeah, so we have a lot of cool content that's going to be on Twitter and Instagram mainly, some stuff on Facebook as well. So we'll have an Instagram live tomorrow showing all the horses coming onto the track after the 7 o'clock break. It's kind of like a traffic session, basically. Everyone comes on, jogs through the vet, and goes. So you'll be able to see a lot of different horses then. We also will have some GoPro footage from some favorites in the possible Breeders' Cup Classic. So we'll see. Be tuned in for that. And then some Instagram lives. Dan's having some great Facebook lives from the front side. So we're just trying to get coverage all around the track from the front to the back and the corners in between.
Cool. Isabella, hey, thanks. Have a great week out there. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a quick break. And when we come back, Dan and I will preview the Breeders' Cup Classic and the Distaff. Amazing, amazing fields there. And a couple other thoughts on maybe some of the juvenile races that are occurring earlier in the Breeders' Cup. All right. Watch this.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
And welcome back to the Winter Circle, presented by Naira and Naira Bets. I'm Bram Weinstein. That is Dan Torgman. He is out at Del Mar here on a Tuesday as they get set for the Breeders' Cup this weekend at the beautiful track out there in Southern California. All right, let me give you just a couple quick other thoughts before we get to the two big races that are happening this weekend. Well, they're all big races, but the two really big field races, Distaff and the Classic. In the mile, I think I like Smooth Like Straight, but I'm not totally sure. So I'm hedging on that one. But right now on a Tuesday, I'm feeling it with Smooth Like Straight.
On a Tuesday. Look, we've seen so much, like specifically me and you have seen so much of Smooth Like Straight. I feel like every time we did a live show at Santa Anita, the horse was running and it was always like,
it could be familiarity. I've seen them all. So that could be part of it that I'm like, no, I know that one. Yeah.
If he gets to the lead, right, he's always dangerous. My only concern with him is that he drew the 2-hole, right? Which means, I mean, not that he wasn't going to the lead anyway, but he's going to try. On the outside is a horse named Blowout, who's got a ton of speed and has won, 5 of 14 lifetime. Her 9 losses, 8 of them have been less than a length. So she's always right there. She's always just relentless from the start. I think Smooth Like Straight's going to have, have his hands full, throughout. So that's my only concern with the horse. In terms of other horses that I think could factor, I think Ivar is coming in a little under the radar. He's a real nice closer. I think he's one to consider. And, a few others from Europe there. Mother Earth is a horse that I like. In Love is another horse that's getting a lot of hype and a lot of love out here. So those would be a couple that I keep an eye on.
Juvenile Phillies. I haven't seen anyone challenge Echo Zulu yet. Love the Gunrunner horse. I love Echo Zulu here. I mean, it's hard with these really young horses to really, I think, take a side, but there's nothing that suggests that I'm not going to get the right outcome there. So I like Echo Zulu.
Yeah, it's Echo Zulu. I think Echo Zulu wins pretty easily. Again, we got to see how the track's playing. I would imagine it's going to play to speed, especially on Friday. Echo Zulu is the fastest horse in the race and probably wins.
Philly and Mare Sprint, Gamine. Anybody over Gamine?
I can't. I really don't have anything creative. What I'm going to try to do there is probably hit an exacta if I can. Try to find a price underneath. There's a horse named Proud Emma, who I think's got some ability. She drew the rail here. She's done her best running at Del Mar. The Rancho Bernardo was, that was a tough race for her, but the pace dynamics of the race played against her. So I think if you get past that, she's a horse who's really, really solid. That's the one horse, Proud Emma. And then another horse is a possible long shot, Estilo Talentoso, who I've loved all year long.
Yeah.
Just never get the right trip. If she gets the right trip, could easily finish second in this race. But yeah, Gamine probably wins.
The Juvenile, I mean, it's hard not to like Corniche there. So I don't know what the number's going to be on Corniche. It's probably not going to be pretty for us handicappers, but it's what it's going to be. And again, like I don't see any other pathway for anyone else. Maybe you do.
I do. I actually, so the draw yesterday, this was one race where I thought the post position draw actually could impact the outcome to a certain extent. Corniche drawn out way wide. That first turn comes up fast enough, and unless she breaks, he breaks super cleanly. It's going to be very tough for him to get to the front or to get into a position where he's not losing ground around that turn. Jack Christopher is the other speed horse coming in from New York. He's on the rail. He's all the way on the inside. So if he doesn't break cleanly, he might find himself in some trouble as some horses are crossing over. So that's a race where the two favorites could potentially be compromised by their post positions. And I do have a bit of a long shot that I like. It's the 3-horse Oviatt Class, 20-1 morning line. It's a horse who's taken a huge step forward in his last couple of starts. The more distance he's gotten, the happier he's been. Watch the replay of his last race. Nobody makes any sort of closing move except for Oviatt Class. Closes from way back and picks up a ton of ground late. He's maturing at the right time. I think you're going to get about 25-30 to 1 on this horse. Should hit the board. So no guarantees, but should hit the board.
Dogecoin Dan is bringing it today with the prices. To the moon, Dan. To the moon. That's 2 25 to 1 horses you're putting out there.
Bro, I'm not wasting your time here.
No, you're not. In the turf, I'm going to try to beat United here. And I don't know. I like Acclimate a little bit. I don't know that I love Acclimate a lot, but I do like him a little bit. So I don't know. At this point, I'm figuring that one out, but I'm already hell bent on beating United here this weekend.
It's funny. Again, you're showing your bias that comes from our live shows that we did, that you assume that United would be a big favorite. I think he's actually like, I don't want to say 10 to 1 or something. He's a bigger price than you think. And so
well, now I'm betting on United. 10 to 1. I've changed my mind. Thank you.
I gotta let me pull up the odds. I remember seeing the odds and thinking, oh wow, United at this price. Maybe not. Maybe hold on. I'm pulling it up. Give me a second. United's 20 to 1. 20 to 1. I'm telling you, man, he's 20 on the.
Well, that actually makes me less inclined to bet on him, because I'm sitting there going, that horse is probably 5 to 1 or worse. And if it's 20 to 1, then they're telling me he's got no shot.
Yeah. Well, that's the race that, the Europeans generally run really, really well. Yeah. It's a mile and a half on the turf. I think, and look, you've got Tarnawa coming back. Won the race last year. There's another horse, Tiona, who's another horse coming in with a ton of credentials. Other European horses, Walton Street, who ran a big race at Woodbine last out, comes back here. And then of the U.S. runners, Domestic Spending, who's probably been the most consistent, best U.S. turf runner all year, is in this spot. So it's a deep field. It's a deep, deep field. I'm still wading my way through the past performances and replays there. I'm trying to watch as many replays as I can from Europe. The one horse that kind of stands out to me as sort of a sneaky horse is the 9, Sisfahan. It's a horse who's running in Germany, largely. Most recent races, finishing third last out in a Group 1, was second in a Group 1 before that, and then won a Group 1. At a mile and a half, looks like a horse who should be able to handle the ground, has run over firm ground, and has run well. There's just something about this horse that kind of makes me think, like, I shouldn't overlook this horse. This is the horse that's going to get overlooked.
Yeah.
And is doing everything right. Now, it's hard to say, oh, a horse is going to take form from Germany and convert it here, but we actually saw it happen. Like the Arc de Triomphe German horse won there, and it's these horses when they do show up here tend to run well. There's a horse Baltgeist who was at the Breeders' Cup a couple of years ago, didn't run as well here, but went on to win the Arc de Triomphe. So I'm gonna give that horse a closer look, but I'm still working my way through the turf.
All right. Let's get to the distaff. Latruska's maybe horse of the year. Malthott's terrific. I've talked about She Dares the Devil a million times. That I really like. I want to see what the price is there, but I really like her. I do think there are a couple of semi-interesting horses underneath those three. While I highly doubt it's not one of those three, and most likely Latruska. I have to kind of stand by my position that I've taken for months, which is I like She Dares the Devil. I think in the end, I'm going to look at the numbers and probably feel like I'm making a mistake with Latruska. But where are you right now?
So here's an interesting thing. Based on the draw, the post draw, you've got Latruska breaking from the 6th hole. Obviously, she's all speed. Horse who outside Horologist is fast, not as fast as Latruska, but she's going to go. She Dares the Devil is the 8 post. So 6, 7, 8. They're stacked up. More speed. She Dares the Devil. Then you go all the way down to the inside, and you have a horse, Private Mission, who could go as fast, I think, as Latruska can early. And so I think the pace is just going to be wicked. And again, keep an eye on how the track's playing. Is it taking a toll on horses who are battling up front? Or are they still able to maintain? Those are like the 4 who, are going to be mixing it up early. In terms of horses that could come from off the pace, Dunbar Road is one who's been, consistent this year. I don't know that she wants this distance though. Royal Flag. Yeah.
Royal Flag was coming in the last Latruska race. If you're right about the pace being absolutely ridiculous off the top, then Royal Flag's got a shot to be on at least on the board, if not more.
Yeah, no, I'm and that's it. So, I mean, you're looking for value. That's the value play for me. Malathat is, obviously has done very little wrong. The only race she lost, she took a ton of pressure because she actually went to the lead that day, which is not something she likes to do. I think she's going to sit a perfect trip here. She's actually my top pick in this race, but Royal Flag is my second pick. I'm not betting on Latruska to completely fade or bomb, but I will say, like, the vibe I get and the sense I get from people around, not only around here, but just handicappers that I know, is that, there is this sort of sense that she's run one big race after another. Is this the race where it catches up with her? And there was also an incident out here. I don't know if you saw it on social media the other day. She was out in the track working her last workout, and they wanted to do like sort of an easy breeze with her, kind of go around the track, do like normal times, not go super fast, not like run her race early. And there was a horse that jumped in, I think, midway through the work and kind of started running alongside her. And so she thought she was in a race. And so she started going faster, and the jockey, the exercise rider, couldn't really restrain her. And so the trainer, after the race, was like, I don't know what to say, but this is really, really heartbreaking because we wanted to do a nice casual, little, breeze around the course with her. And she ended up running like a full bore workout, just less than a week out from the race. So that's something to keep an eye on. A lot of people are downplaying that. They're saying, well, look, she's the best horse in the race. She's still the best horse in the race.
Right.
I mean,
that's bad karma, though. You know it. That is bad karma.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, it is. All right, let's get to the classic. So listen, this is a deep, deep, deep field. That said, if Knicks Go gets out to the lead, I don't know that anyone catches them. I mean, that's been it. Yep. So I don't want to overthink this. And the real question is, like, who's going to run with him? Probably Medina Spirit, right? Probably going to run with him. Okay. Does he burn him out? I don't think so. Does Medina Spirit get the lead and hold him off? I don't think so. So I think either Knicks Go is going wire to wire, and if someone is going to catch him, in my opinion, it's Hot Rod Charlie. But I don't think anyone catches him. But that's where I am on it.
So we have the same general approach, except we've got it playing out just slightly differently in terms of who we think the horse is that's going to be on the lead. I think it's Medina Spirit. And
well, then I'm going to be hard pressed that he gets caught because he doesn't get past. So I don't know.
Look, you know who his rider is, John Velasquez. You remember what John Velasquez did last year in the Breeders' Cup Classic? He said, I have a horse named Authentic. He's probably the fastest horse in the race. There are a lot of other horses in here with speed. Let him try and catch me. Went right to the front with the Bob Baffert horse, and the horse stayed right there all the way around. He's going to do the same thing. He's going to the front. Medina Spirit has not been able to win from off the pace. He has also, as you indicate, he's been relentless when he gets to the front. He doesn't like letting any horses go by him. Medina Spirit, I think, and from a betting perspective, I think we may benefit, if you're betting on Medina Spirit, from the bad press, right? From the fact that, there's a lot, there's certainly a cloud surrounding the horse. That being said, I mean, the horse has come back since the Derby, and he's run big races. He ran a huge Preakness. He took pressure throughout and hung in for third there in a race where most horses who take that amount of sustained pressure going as fast as he was finish last and need 6 months off. He not only hung in and finished third, he was only beaten a couple of lengths. I mean, Ron Bauer was fresh, kind of rolling by them all. Medina Spirit is a quality horse who I think knows, and Johnny knows, the only way he wins and the only way he even hits the board is if he gets to the front. So he needs to be on the lead. I think he gets there, and I think they chase him all the way around. But I think that pressure ultimately will take enough of a toll on him for Hot Rod Charlie. We're on the same page, man.
Yeah.
Hot Rod Charlie to roll by late.
I think it's so crazy that neither one of us even brought up Essential Quality yet, which is really amazing. I think it's honestly one of the most underrated champions I think I've seen in a while. And he never does it in a way that's like eye-popping or memorable, but he's always right there. And so I don't want to totally undersell or say can't do it. And frankly, I don't know that Art Collector, if didn't have a huge race, wouldn't have a shot here too. So I think this is a really deep field. But I do feel like those two horses that get out to the front, Medina Spirit and Knicks Go, it's going to be a match race early, and it is very possible that no one catches either one of them, whoever gets out to the lead. And I'm pretty confident if it's Knicks Go, that is going to happen. But I'm with you. If I'm going to take somebody to catch them because the pace is just too hot and it burns them out, I would go Hot Rod Charlie. But my pick is Knicks Go. That's where I'm going right now.
So just going back to Essential Quality, I think now I know he won the Belmont, and that was 1.5 miles. But remember, he was all out really to get by Hot Rod Charlie, who had taken a ton of early pressure in that race. Now, he had plenty of excuses in the Derby, but, he also finished fourth there. And then, again, speaking of being all out, he was all out last out to get level with Midnight Bourbon and the Travers. I just sort of feel that even though everything about his pedigree and certainly the results that we've seen indicate that Essential Quality should be able to, in his sleep, handle this 1.25 mile distance, it's not optimal for him. And I think that at the end of the day, he is a dominant 1.16 mile, 1.125 horse. When you get to 1.25 miles with him, I think he does have to work a little harder. And he has... he's a horse who's run a lot of big races all year. You got to wonder, does he have another one in the tank? He's a 3-year-old also. He's not like some of these 4 and 5-year-olds who are used to the rigorous campaign. This is his first time doing it, beginning to end. So those are my questions with him. And if you're telling me that I'm getting 2-1 on him or 5-2, I'm just not interested. In looking at the pace scenario that we talked about, I do want to just throw out a couple of other horses quickly. We may as well just run through the field. Tripoli is a horse we watched a bunch. Last out in the Awesome Again was caught 4 wide into the first turn. He was trying to secure position. It was not a great ride. It was not a great race for him.
I think he bounced, Dan.
Exactly. Yep.
I don't, and in this field, I got a hard time selling that I'm going to be like, let's giddy up, let's go again. There's too many other options here, I think.
Yeah, look, so I'm not saying he's going to win the race, but I will say, there's a horse who won the Pacific Classic. He's a horse that, if things shape up and he's got the rail, which I actually really like for him, because I think he's going to sit about 3 or 4 lengths off. He's going to let the action happen in front of him. He's going to save ground. You don't have to worry about him going wide. I think he could potentially finish for a piece. I'm not saying he's going to win, but I would not be surprised if he hit the board. The horses I'm tossing are Express Train. I've been down that road before, and I'm done with Express Train. I'm also done with I'm not using Stiletto Boy.
Yeah.
Max Player is an interesting one, right? I mean, I don't know if you're buying on Max Player. I'm not, but
I'm not.
Yeah.
No. Again, I feel like we already know what the front's going to look like, and you've got to be of a specific quality. And I'm not into buying into this is the day on a total lark. And that's what that would be with a horse like that. And I actually feel the same way about Tripoli. I think we had that in the Pacific Classic. I don't think you're going to see it again. And that's why I'm off of those. I really think this is a very top-heavy field. I think there is too much quality at the top of it. And if it's going to be an upset, it's going to be a mild one. Hot Rod Charlie, something like that. That's what I think.
Yeah, look, I think in summary, we're essentially on the same page. I was looking back at Hot Rod Charlie's races, and I'm like, it's pretty remarkable the campaign that he's had. I don't think he's gotten enough credit for what he's done this year. Horse wins the Louisiana Derby at a mile and 3/16. Again, talking about who would this distance be optimal for? Mile and 3/16. He wins the Louisiana Derby on the front end, comes back in the Kentucky Derby, runs a huge race, loses by a length at a mile and a quarter. In the Belmont, he takes all the pressure in the world going a mile and a half and nearly hangs on, loses by a length there to Essential Quality. In the Haskell, he wins. He gets DQ'd, but he wins the Haskell. And then he comes back and he just rolls in the Pennsylvania Derby. I mean, the horse has run 5 massive races in a row. He posted a 111 Beyer speed figure last out. A 111. I mean, Knicks Go, his top this year was the 113 he posted in the Cornhusker. People talk about Knicks Go like he's a sure thing. Hot Rod Charlie, for a 3-year-old, I mean, has done some spectacular things. And again, I would have the same question for him as I do about Essential Quality. And that is, he hasn't been through these rigors before. Although he did have a pretty extensive 2-year-old campaign, he hasn't been through the same rigors. He's facing older horses. But man, I mean, if you want to talk about a horse who has just done everything right and who seems to only be getting stronger this time of the year somehow, I think it's Hot Rod Charlie.
Yeah,
and so,
I agree. I agree. Like, you're going to take a shot, right? You're going to take a shot. I think that's the one you take a shot on. I still do feel like this is either Knicks Go or Medina Spirit in the end, whoever gets out. And if that's what I think. But like, and I could see either one of them going wire to wire here, but I'm more inclined to think Knicks Go is going to do it because I've seen him do it so many times that I think if he does get out and in front of this field, I don't think they're catching him. I have a hard time buying it. All right. I'm not going to make you make any more picks because you got like 4 days to think about it. So, and all of the viewers of ABR's great content will see Dan wall to wall over the next few days to get some picks for the Breeders' Cup. So, enjoy Del Mar. I wish I was with you, but 2022, things will change. COVID, I hope, will be a thing of the past, or I'll be less snowflakey about it, and we'll do this next year.
That sounds good, man. Yeah, and I'll definitely I'll set aside some money for the Bram and Dan Pick 5 extravaganza on Saturday. So yeah,
we're so confident we're gonna single Caravelle in it.
I'll tell you what, that would put us in pretty good position. The rest of it,
that'd be an all-timer. You can tell my kids about that one. I singled in a Pick 5, a 25-1 horse, and he hit.
That's the thing. Graham Motion does not, I can't say enough, does not like embarrassing himself on the big stage. He shows up on Belmont Stakes Day. He wins races. He shows up on Preakness Weekend.
I'm telling you, I'm sniffing this one out too. This one stinks of a bomb. It's about to hit. I love it. All right, Dan, enjoy Del Mar. Thanks.
Thanks, brother.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Winner's Circle presented by America's Day at the Races, the official live broadcast partner of Aqueduct Racetrack, Belmont Park, Saratoga Racecourse, and tracks nationwide. For Dan in Del Mar, I'm Bram Weinstein. Have a great week.